When one dynasty ended, a newly formed empire sputtered. Lauded was Saint Alessia, the founder of the first human empire upon Tamriel. But no bloodline could last forever. The people awaited their next great ruler. His name was Reman Cyrodiil, and he sprung from the most unlikely and uncouth beginnings. In this series, Elder Scrolls Simplified, I will attempt to break down some of the stranger and more inaccessible bits of Elder Scrolls lore in quick and simple videos for the average fan to understand. Today's topic is the birth of Reman Cyrodiil. So, without further ado, let's explore. To understand the birth of Reman Cyrodiil, we must first examine and understand the birth of the Empire from the heartland of Tamriel itself. In the Merethic era, so named for the control the elves, or Mer, had on the land, humans were almost all subjugated into servitude or slavery. Though some sects of free men existed, they were largely isolated or primitive. Instead, different variants of Mer dominated Tamriel, including the Altmer, Bosmer, Chimer, and of course, the strangest and cruelest of beings, the Aelids. The Aelids ruled over the expansive jungles in the center of Tamriel, the land later to become Cyrodiil. As the most ruthless of the elves, the Aelids not only enslaved the humans, or Needs, that occupied the region, but subjugated them to heinous torture and other unspeakable acts. All the Needs knew was pain and misery, and they possessed no hope for a positive future, let alone divine intervention. But one among them, a lone woman with faith in a foreign pantheon, forged a path to salvation. Alessia, the Slave Queen, with aid from the Divines and their various champions, rebelled against the Aelids and formed the First Empire in the First Era. In a deific deal with Akatosh, she inherited the Amulet of Kings, the shining red gem indicating dragon blood and royal worthiness. The time of the elves was over, the time of men at hand. While Alessia and her followers established the first reign of men across Tamriel, her death proved that no mortal monarch could live forever. Still, her ideas, practices, and traditions were passed down across the territory formerly belonging to the Aelids, where her human kin still ruled. But before long, much later in the First Era, the race of man required a new leader. For 400 years, the remnants of Alessia's empire had been fractured in Cyrodiil, with local kings and barons claiming land and fighting among themselves. The Amulet of Kings was gone. From the west, originating in a land known as Twill, a local king named Hrol journeyed with 16 knights, seeking to heal his ailing dreams. In his nightly visions, Hrol saw the denizens of Akavir, the Snake Men, who had set their sights on Tamriel. The Akaviri threatened to bring conflict and subjugation to the shores of the known world from their continent across the sea, and King Hrol, though imperfect and petty in his own right, wished to reunite his homeland before it fell prey to outsiders with ill intentions. He journeyed to Cyrodiil with his band of warriors, and once there fell witness to a great vision, greater even than his premonitions. Shimmering before him was the spirit of Queen Alessia herself. In her left hand was the dragonfire of Akatosh, in her right the lost Amulet of Kings. On her chest was gouged a gaping wound, spilling forth not blood, but essence of the void itself. The king and his men sank to their knees in lamentation of the spirit of the First Empire, but Alessia denied them aid, citing their constant fleeing and cowardice the reason. Hrol and his knights scoured the land, undeterred by Alessia's declaration, until only the king's shield thane remained in his company. Hrol found Alessia's spirit, which was the land itself, and he made love to it, made love to Cyrodiil to produce its second great emperor. The shield thane died of shock, and King Hrol perished in his carnal efforts. Before long, the other knights found Hrol, and the land to which he had made love, and were driven either to madness or to shame. Nevertheless, Hrol's escapade was not without its fruit, for in 9 months' time, the mound of mud had become a mountain which the locals dubbed Sancra Tor, or Golden Hill. A local shepherdess named Sedyenna scaled the hill, and within the mound sat a baby, which she named Reman. The Amulet of Kings was settled in the forehead of young Reman Cyrodiil, marking him as undisputed emperor of Alessia's great realm. Said Yenna carried the child to the white gold tower and placed him on the throne, where he spoke in an adult voice, "I am Cyrodiil come." The Second Empire had begun. So, now let's summarize today's topic, the birth of Reman Cyrodiil. In times long reviled by the races of men, elves, or Mer, ruled the majority of Tamriel, giving rise to the Merethic era. Cruelest of all elves were the Aelids, who claimed Cyrodiil as their domain. However, these ruthless beings were overthrown and nearly driven to extinction by the first emperor, or empress, Queen Alessia. A former slave, Alessia made a pact with the gods of Mer to set her people free, resulting in the creation of the Amulet of Kings. But even she was mortal, and after some time, the first empire of man crumbled as all grand nations do. But late in the First Era, when men squabbled for slivers of power amongst themselves, a wayward king named Hrol was blessed during an expedition in the wilderness. The spirit of Queen Alessia came to him, and inhabited the very land of Cyrodiil itself. Hrol made love to the land, and after 9 months, Reman Cyrodiil, with the Amulet of Kings in his forehead, was produced from this union. As a baby, he was placed on the throne, and the Second Empire began its reign. Born from the very land he ruled, Reman Cyrodiil had arrived. So, that's all for this video. Leave a comment if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new here. I'd love to have you. Have an Elder Scrolls topic you want to see covered as a part of Elder Scrolls Simplified? Let me know below. Visit my website, russellawellsauthor.com, for exclusive reviews, fiction, and more. And sign up for my mailing list for free exclusive content. The links for both are in the description below. And, like always, I will see you next time.